Hello everyone, welcome to the Hopeful Moments 1 channel. Today, we will explore a story about the strained relationship between me and my older brother, a story full of jealousy, imitation, and disrespect within the family. This story will take you through unexpected twists. Not only did my brother try to invade my personal space, but things escalated with his extreme reactions when rejected. His anger reached its peak, leading to actions that threatened to damage our family relationship, forcing me to stand firm in protecting my rights and personal space. If you find this story engaging and full of meaningful lessons, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more valuable stories. My family used to be a place where I always felt safe, where everyone understood and supported each other. My older brother, who is 5 years older than me, and I were very close. When we were younger, he would take me out to play, help me with homework, and tell me inspiring stories. But things gradually changed as we grew older. My brother, once confident and successful, began to falter under life's pressures. After a series of job failures, he became lost and disoriented. He became self-conscious and frequently blamed others, including me, the younger sibling he once loved. Over time, the inspiring stories of the past disappeared, replaced by envy and harsh criticisms. When I bought my first house after many years of hard work, I was incredibly proud. It was the result of tireless efforts and many sleepless nights to finish work. But that joy was short-lived. My brother, without asking for my opinion, decided to suggest to our mother that he would move in with me to save on rent. My mother, who had always favored him over me, immediately supported this idea. She even called me, gently but with a bit of pressure, "Let your brother stay with you for a while. The house is big, you won't lose anything." I tried to explain to her that I needed my own space, that I didn't want to live together because I knew he would put pressure on me both mentally and financially. But my mother dismissed it all. "You're the younger one, can't you help him a little? Family is for supporting each other." Her words made me feel suffocated. Family, which was supposed to be a place to seek support and comfort, now felt like a place forcing me to endure. I decided to confront my brother. In our conversation, he showed no remorse. Instead, he blamed me. "You're so selfish. When we were kids, I took care of you. Now that I need you, you turn your back on me." His words pierced me like daggers. But this time, I didn't want to stay silent. I responded, "You did take care of me, yes. But that doesn't mean I owe you forever. You need to take responsibility for your own life, instead of relying on others." We had a huge argument. That night, I sat alone in the empty house, feeling heavy-hearted. I wondered if I was wrong for setting such boundaries. But then I remembered all the times he drained me, physically and mentally, just because I had yielded. I realized, no one but me has the right to decide what is best for my life. Not long ago, I unexpectedly became the owner of a house. It was an opportunity one couldn't pass up when a friend's grandfather, someone I deeply respected, decided to move to Florida. His house, which held many memories, was being sold for an unbelievable price of $200,000, an almost unbelievable deal in the real estate market at the time. Though it was an old modular house from the 80s, with several renovations, it held special meaning for me. Not only because it once belonged to someone I admired, but also because it evoked precious childhood memories. A month after deciding to move, he unexpectedly passed away from a stroke. His death left a gap, but it also presented me with a wonderful opportunity. When he offered to sell the house and land to me, he said that he believed only I could take care of it the way it deserved. I felt like I was holding a dream in my hands, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change my life. With $30,000 in savings, I could hardly believe my eyes when I first saw the house. I had been preparing to buy a home for a while, but never imagined it would be this one. Though it was an old modular house from the 80s, the previous renovations had kept it fresh, with a spacious garage and a lot that I could use. If listed on the market, this house could sell for much more, but my friend's grandfather sold it to me at a discount because he believed I would take better care of it than anyone else. This decision, though risky to some, felt like a new beginning to me. Finally, I moved out of the cramped apartment I had lived in for so long, and more importantly, the painful memories of a past relationship I desperately wanted to overcome. Though the story of that breakup deserves to be told another time, the determination and freedom I found when buying this house was exactly what I needed. It was the start of a new chapter, a life full of space, hope, and opportunity. My brother almost went crazy when he found out I had bought a house. To him, this achievement felt like a personal attack. For over a decade, he had the habit of copying everything I did, as if it was his way of asserting himself. From small things like clothes and accessories to major life decisions, he always tried to imitate, believing that if he followed my footsteps, he could achieve what I had. But this time, it was different. This time, I did what he couldn't. I bought a house. He often blamed his inability to buy one on his bad credit and unstable income, but I knew the real reason was that he couldn't accept that he couldn't keep up with me. So, he began criticizing me, accusing me of deliberately embarrassing him by doing things he couldn't. The truth is, I just wanted a home, a private space where I could feel safe and grow up. Despite his opposition, I stayed resolute. His reasons were unreasonable, and I wouldn't let his anger ruin my decision. Buying a house wasn't to embarrass him, it was to give myself a place to build my life, without interference and full of potential. Now, I have my own home. A garage for personal hobbies, a space to express myself, and most importantly, a shelter where I don't have to worry about prying eyes, constant imitation, or broken boundaries. It's everything I've ever wanted, and I'm determined to make it my own world. Have you ever felt like everything you do is copied by someone else? I bought a foldable bed, he bought one too. I started going to the gym, he did too. I bought quality wine, he either bought the same kind or secretly took it from mine. Every decision I made was copied by him. Everything I owned became his next target, a new TV, a truck, a camper, anything I had, he had to imitate. Maybe copying little things is acceptable, but even when I bought an old portable DVD player, he did too. It was ridiculous, I thought it was just an impulse buy, but he copied it exactly. These actions didn't just reflect insecurity but also dependence on copying what I did, a sign of poor taste and lack of creativity. He couldn't make decisions on his own or try anything new, he always had to look at what I did first and then follow. But not everything can be copied. Buying a house, for example, is not something you can imitate. And that's where he failed to keep up with me. He tried to convince me that his Mini Ram was cooler than my Tundra just because it was unique. I swear, he made the silliest modifications to that truck. One of his inventions was screwing into the suspension springs to make the truck higher, hoping it would look tougher. In reality, it just made the truck look ridiculous, with no aesthetic at all. Despite making such poor decisions, he still bragged about them as if they were great inventions, a hollow effort to appear creative while all he did was chase after me. A few weeks later, still upset that I bought a house while he didn't, he suddenly appeared with a self-satisfied smile and a great idea that I never saw coming. He wanted to move in with me. It felt like a bomb exploded in my head. I couldn't believe my ears. It was as if he thought I wouldn't dare say no, as if everything in my life was his without question or hesitation. He truly believed that family relationships gave him the right to invade my personal space without consent. I couldn't contain my fury and laughed loudly, a derisive laugh before bluntly refusing. I knew right away this was just one of his games, a test to see if I would dare stand up and say no. But this time, I wouldn't play along. He immediately suggested renting a room for only $200 a month, including utilities, with the excuse of we're family. The audacity was unbelievable. How could I agree to such blatant exploitation? He couldn't manage his life but wanted to depend on me, using family as an excuse to take advantage. I replied firmly with just one word, never. I didn't want to prolong this meaningless conversation, but he wouldn't stop. He dragged our mother into it, creating a dramatic scene that made me feel cornered. My mother, tearful and emotional, sided with him, saying I was rude and disrespectful to the family. That betrayal hurt, not just from him, but from my mother, whom I had always loved and respected. But I knew this time I couldn't let emotions sway me. In the past, I was weak, letting others take advantage, but not now. I had to stand firm and protect not only my home but also the boundaries I had set for myself, even if it meant facing family conflict. So, I repeated once again, this time louder and more firmly, never. I had to protect not only my home but my right to live my own life. My brother, his face red with anger, still refused to give up. He shouted, his voice full of disappointment, as if I had done something wrong. But I knew he was just venting because he had lost control over me. My mother was still crying, and although it hurt to see her like that, my resolve only grew stronger. I couldn't, and wouldn't, change my decision out of pity or guilt. It was time for me to stop letting others take advantage, even if it meant facing the pain of family conflict. A few weeks later, my brother tried again. This time, he appeared with another great idea. He wanted to move in with me, once again. This time, I felt the anger and disbelief rise. Didn't he understand that I no longer allowed him to invade my life? Did he think I would be pressured into giving in to his unreasonable demands? I looked him straight in the eye and said with unwavering confidence, "You can't afford a house, so now you want to invade mine?" Never. My anger and determination poured into every word. I knew only I could protect my life from unwanted intrusion. I couldn't keep living in his shadow, and it was time for me to take full control of my life. When he realized I wouldn't budge, he dragged our mother into it again. I felt like I was stuck in an endless loop of emotional manipulation. My mother, with tear-filled eyes, sided with him, as if I was the one who was wrong. The feeling of betrayal was even deeper, not just from my brother but from my mother. It was as if all my decisions and efforts meant nothing to her. But I stood firm, cold and decisive. No matter how much you cry, I won't change my decision. I declared. My words were the final wall against their unreasonable demands. My brother, now red-faced with rage, shouted insults and accusations, trying to break my resolve. But his words only revealed the bitterness and jealousy in his heart. With a sarcastic laugh, I calmly responded, "I don't ride horses, but you're driving your Silverado, while I'm already home." His anger exploded, and he screamed incomprehensible things about my choice, but I didn't care anymore. I saw his rage for what it truly was, a desperate attempt to cling to control he never had. Have you ever felt like someone can't do anything without copying you? I bought a foldable bed, he bought one too. I went to the gym, he did too. I bought a nice bottle of wine, he either bought the same one or secretly took mine. Every decision I made was copied by him. Everything I bought became his next target, a new TV, a truck, a camper, all replicas of mine. Sure, copying little things might be acceptable, but when I bought a second-hand DVD player on a whim, he did the exact same thing. It was ridiculous. I thought it was just an impulse buy, but he had to follow suit. His actions didn't just reflect insecurity, they revealed an unhealthy dependency on my choices, showing a lack of personality and creativity. He couldn't make decisions or think of anything new without copying what I did. But not everything can be copied. Buying a house, for instance, is a decision he couldn't replicate. And he failed miserably trying to keep up with me on that. He even tried to convince me that his mini-ram was cooler than my Tundra, claiming it was unique. I swear he made the most ridiculous changes to that truck. One of the modifications was screwing into the shock springs to make it look taller and stronger. But in reality, those changes just made the truck look worse, with no aesthetic or functional value. Still, he proudly considered his creations breakthroughs, when, in reality, they were just desperate attempts to imitate me. When he couldn't convince me any other way, he proposed living in my garage, with our mother's support. I flatly refused again. And instead of giving in, I used the garage space for another close friend, a decision I've never regretted. In life, sometimes we have to face difficult decisions, especially when it comes to family and long-term relationships. Setting boundaries is not selfish, it's a necessary action to protect yourself from excessive interference from others. Family is where we seek love and support, but sometimes, that love can become pressure if it's not understood and respected properly. Don't be afraid to say no when it's necessary to protect your freedom and your own life. Remember, you are not responsible for the choices of others, whether it's your siblings or anyone in your family. Maintaining boundaries doesn't make you selfish, it makes you responsible for your own life. Be strong in pursuing what you want, don't let fear or guilt make you give in. Your happiness, your peace of mind, are precious things that no one has the right to take away. Only when you respect yourself and your needs can you live a full and meaningful life.